Welcome, my dear students, to the second part of our lecture on movement and support. Course title still remains General Biology 1, GNS 132/230. Your lecturer is still Agama Michael Uche. Now, we will continue with where we stopped in the previous lecture. I will start with joints. Joints. A joint is a place where two or more bones meet. There are two types of joints: movable joints and immovable joints. Movable joints allow movement. Immovable joints do not allow movement. Bones are linked to one another by ligaments. Bones are linked to muscles by tendons. In the body, we have gliding joints that allow slight movements like ankle and wrist joints, and we have ball and socket joints that allow movement in all directions. Take for instance, elbow joint. You can swing your hand around like this. It allows movement in all directions. Now that we know what joints are, in the joints, there are normally a fluid in the joints called synovial fluid. Synovial fluid. The function of this fluid is to reduce friction in the joints. You know that friction is the force that hinders movement of two surfaces in contact. Now let us look at functions of skeleton. What are the functions of skeleton in your body? Functions of skeleton. The skeleton performs several functions in the body, and we are going to look at them. One is support. The skeleton supports the body. Two is protection. Support, protection. Blood formation. Skeleton gives shape to the body. Skeleton helps to make respiration, breathing possible. Helps in breathing mechanism. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing mechanism. Skeleton helps to provide places for muscle attachment. Attachment of muscles. And skeleton provides what? Movement. Because you know, we've already said before now, that joints are places that allow movement. Without the joints in the skeleton, movement will not be what? Possible. You can always ask questions on these functions, types of skeleton, what is ligament, what is tendon, what is the function of synovial fluid. All these are areas that you should pay attention. Support in plants. Support in plants. Four organs give support to plants. Support in plants. 4 parts of plants give support to the plants. These parts include collenchyma, parenchyma, sclerenchyma, and xylem. These four parts give support to plants. We say that movement is change in direction or place of an organism. Most animals are free to move from one place to another. And we have said that most of the times plants cannot move from one place to another, but they show some form of inactive, passive, or sleeping what? Movement. We are now going to look at movement in what? Plants. Movement in plants. Movement in plants. There are three types of movement in plants, namely tactic movement, nastic movement, and tropic movement. There are three types of movement in plants: tactic, nastic, and tropic movement. Tactic movement is a response that a whole plant shows to stimulus. A response a whole plant shows to what? Stimulus. What is stimulus? Any agent that causes a change in the environment of what? An organism. A stimulus can be a sensation. A stimulus can be an irritation. But anything that can cause a change in the environment of an organism is called what? Stimulus. So what are those stimulus that can cause a plant to move, or a plant to change what? Direction, or a plant to move from place to place? We have already said we have these three types of movement: tactic, nastic, and tropic. Now we are considering what? Tactic. But in tactic, is a whole plant that moves. It's a movement of the whole plant from one place to another. Example: we have phototaxis and chemotaxis. Phototaxis is when a plant moves away from light or moves towards what? Light. So it can be positive or negative. Moving towards plant is what? Light is what? Positive. Moving away from light is what? Negative. It can also be chemotactic, when an organism moves towards a chemical, that positive. When it moves away from the chemical is what? Negative. So tactic is when the whole plant what? Moves. The second one is what? Nastic. Nastic movement is response shown by a part of a plant to non-directional stimulus. That is a stimulus that is not coming from any known direction. A response shown by a part of a plant, not the whole plant now, but what? A part, to stimulus that is not coming from any what? Direction. So the stimulus is non-directional. Examples of nastic movement will include nyctinacity. Nyctinacity is response shown by a plant to changes in day and night condition. Nyctinacity. Response shown by plant to changes in what? Day and night. Changes in day and night condition. Nyctinacity. The other one here is hydronastic, response to the presence of water. Hydronastic, response to the presence of water. The other is chemonastic, response to the presence of chemicals. We also have photonastic, response to the presence of what? Light. Photonastic. That's the response to light. Chemonastic, response to chemicals. Hydronastic, response to water. And leptinastic, response to changes in day and night condition. Finally, we have tropic movement or tropism. Tropic movement or tropism. 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 This is a response shown by a fixed plant or the body of a fixed plant to unilateral stimulus. That is stimulus coming from a known direction. Stimulus that you can see the source of the what? Stimulus. That's what we call unilateral. You are seeing the source of the stimulus. You know where it's coming from. We call it unilateral what? Stimulus. Unilateral. Unilateral stimulus. I.e. known direction. Known direction or unilateral direction. Examples of tropisms. We have phototropism. Phototropism. Tropism. Hydrotropism. Chemotropism. Geotropism. Geotropism. Okay. Phototropism in response to the stimulus of light. Hydrotropism in response to the stimulus of presence of what? Water. Geotropism in response to the stimulus of what? Gravity. The instrument used for measuring for demonstrating geotropism is called clinostat. Clinostat. The instrument used to demonstrate geotropism is what? Clinostat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where this second lecture concludes our lecture on movement and support in plants. By our next lecture, we'll go to another series that will be dealing on reproduction in living organisms. If you are satisfied by our little effort in this learning at the comfort of your home, click subscribe by clicking on the red button. Till I see you again for better understanding of reproduction in living organisms, I wish you luck. Thank you and God bless you.